Slow mornings in the kitchen with her mother grinding spices. Long walks home from school with her younger cousin. Evenings spent on the roof watching birds disappear into the red streak horizon. Marriage had always seemed like something distant, an event belonging to another version of herself years in the future. But on the morning she became a bride, everything happened too fast. Women filled her childhood bedroom, their voices overlapping like rushing water. Silk fabric slid across her skin. Pins tugged at her hair. Someone dusted powder onto her cheeks, while another adjusted the heavy necklace pressing against her collarbone. "Lift your chin, dear. Careful, don't crease the veil." "She's very pretty." Mara barely heard them. Her eyes were fixed on a mirror. The girl staring back looked unfamiliar. Her dark hair was sculpted into an elaborate style she had never worn before. Gold circled her wrists and throat. Red embroidery crawled across the ivory fabric wrapped around her slender body. She looked expensive, important, and terrified. Her hands trembled in her lap. A woman noticed and gently closed her fingers around them. "Cold?" she asked. Mara nodded, though the room was warm. Her chest felt tight, like she couldn't draw a full breath. The agreement had been announced 3 months earlier. No arguments, no discussions, just a decision. Her father had called her in after dinner, his voice carefully neutral. The television murmured in the background while her mother folded laundry she didn't need to fold. "A family approached us," he said. "They want to arrange a marriage." Mara had blinked. "For me?" Her mother's hands paused. "Yes." Her stomach twisted. "When?" "Soon." The word landed heavily. She tried to smile. "I'm still in school." "You can continue," her mother said too quickly. Her father cleared his throat. "He owns several businesses. He's respected." "How old is he?" Silence. Mara felt her pulse in her ears. 32, her father said. She stared at him. "That's almost double my age." "He's widowed," her mother added. "No children." "I don't even know him." "You will," her father replied. "I don't want to." The words slipped out before she could stop them. Her father finally looked straight at her. "This is already being arranged." Mara's throat closed. Now, standing in her wedding clothes, that same helplessness wrapped around her ribs. Outside the house, music thundered. Drums echoed through the courtyard. Laughter floated through open windows. Firecrackers cracked in the distance. A celebration. Inside her, everything felt like it was breaking. One of her cousins leaned close while adjusting her bangles. "Don't worry," she whispered. "Everyone is scared at first." Mara forced a nod, but fear didn't explain the knot in her stomach. She had heard things. Stories shared in whispers behind doors. Girls who came back from weddings quieter than before, who stopped laughing so easily, who avoided eye contact. She swallowed hard. She had seen her future husband once. Only once. He'd arrived with his family to meet her parents. She watched from the hallway as servants carried trays of tea. He had stood tall beside his mother, dressed neatly, posture straight, not smiling, listening more than speaking. When his eyes lifted, briefly, Mara had stepped back before he could notice her. She remembered thinking he looked controlled, like a man who didn't waste words. The ceremony blurred. She walked when told to walk, sat when guided, held his hand when it was placed in hers. His palm was warm, dry, steady. The priest spoke. Guests murmured. Cameras flashed. When the vows ended, applause filled the air. Mara flinched at the sudden noise. Her new husband leaned slightly toward her. "It's all right," he said quietly. She nodded without looking at him. That night, servants escorted her down a long hallway lit by lamps. The bridal room waited at the end. Soft light spilled across white curtains. Rose petals covered the bedspread. Candles flickered on low tables. The door closed behind her. The sound echoed. Mara stood in the center of the room for several seconds before forcing herself to sit. She clasped her hands together until her fingers hurt. Her breathing came shallow and quick. Minutes passed. Every creak would made her jump. Footsteps approached. Stopped. The door opened. She stood before she realized she'd moved. He entered quietly, no longer in formal clothes, Just a simple shirt and dark trousers. He shut the door with care. Not force. Not hurried. Silence stretched between them. Mara stared at the floor. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She tried to speak, but couldn't. Then he said calmly, "You don't need to be afraid." Her shoulders stiffened. She didn't answer. He didn't step closer. Instead, he walked toward the window, then to a small table beside it. Something sat there, a velvet case she hadn't noticed before. He picked it up. "I know this wasn't your choice," he said. Her breath caught. He turned and set the box down between them. "This is for you." She hesitated before touching it. Slowly, she lifted the lid. Mara stared at the contents of the velvet box. The documents were neatly folded, edges crisp. The silver key lay across them, thin and simple, catching the candlelight. Her protection. The words echoed in her mind. She looked up at the man standing across from her. Her husband, though the words still felt unreal. "I don't understand," she said. Her voice sounded smaller than she intended. He didn't rush to answer. Instead, he pulled out the chair near the table and sat, keeping a careful distance between them. "These are legal papers," he said. "Signed and witnessed." "About what?" "About you." Her fingers tightened around the edge of the box. A dozen terrible possibilities rushed through her mind. Ownership, restrictions, conditions. Her stomach clenched. He noticed. "That's not what you think," he added quickly. She studied his face for the first time properly. He looked older up close, not in a frightening way, but in a tired one. Fine lines at the corners of his eyes. A faint scar near his temple, half hidden by dark hair. He seemed cautious, as though choosing each word carefully. "They state," he continued, "that you can leave this marriage at any time. No penalties, no threats, no claims against you." Her breath caught. "Leave." "Yes." She blinked. "But I know." She shook her head slowly. "That's not how this works." He gave a faint, humorless smile. "Usually." She picked up the papers with trembling hands and unfolded the first page. Legal language filled it, dense paragraphs, official stamps, signatures. She recognized her father's name. Her mother's. 2 witnesses. Her chest tightened. "They knew." "They agreed," he said. "After I insisted." "Why would you?" She stopped herself. Why would he give her a way out? Men didn't do that in the stories she'd heard. "You can take the key, too," he added. "It opens a small apartment I own in the city. No one else has access. If you ever decide to leave, you go there first." She looked at the key. Such a small thing. So much weight. "You planned this before the wedding." "Yes. Before even meeting me properly." "I knew your age," he said, "and I knew the arrangement wasn't yours." Mara swallowed. "You could have said no," she whispered. He exhaled slowly. "I tried. Your family was determined. Mine, too." She didn't like how that sounded. Like 2 currents dragging them both in directions neither had chosen. "What's your name?" she asked suddenly. The question surprised even her. He blinked. "Ryan." She nodded once. "I'm not a monster," he said, almost awkwardly. "I won't force anything on you. Not tonight. Not ever." Her chest ached with the effort of holding herself together. "Then what happens now?" He leaned back slightly. "We stay married. On paper." She stared at him. "Until you decide otherwise." "And you?" "I keep my distance," he said. "You have your own room, your own routine. You continue school if you want. No one touches you unless you say so." Her throat tightened again. No one had ever spoken to her like that before. Not about something this big. "You don't know me," she said. "I know enough," he replied quietly. She hesitated, then asked the question that had been burning in her chest. "Why?" He looked away toward the window. For a moment, she thought he wouldn't answer. "My first marriage," he said slowly, "was not kind. To either of us. It was arranged, too. We were both trapped." Mara held still. "She died 3 years ago," he added. "Illness." "I'm sorry." He nodded once. "I promised myself I wouldn't cage another person." Silence settled between them. Different now. Less sharp. Mara folded the papers carefully and put them back in the box. "If I stay," she said, "people think we're normal." "Yes. And if I leave, I'll handle my family." She searched his face for deception. Found none. Just seriousness. And something else. Regret. He stood. "There's another thing." She tensed. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small envelope, set it beside the box. "What's that?" "Your bank card," he said. "In your name only. Monthly allowance already arranged." Her eyebrows knit together. "I don't need." "You do," he interrupted gently. "Independence requires money." She didn't argue. She didn't know how. He gestured toward a door on the far side of the room. "That leads to the guest bedroom. It's yours. And you?" "I'll sleep in my study tonight." Her pulse slowed just a little. He paused at the door. "If anyone asks," he said, "we'll say you were tired." She nodded. "Good night, Mara." "Good night." After he left, she locked the door without meaning to. Then she sat on the bed and stared at the velvet box in her lap. Freedom! Mara did not sleep. She lay on her side, fully dressed, the velvet box tucked beneath the pillow like a fragile treasure she was afraid to lose. Every few minutes she listened, for footsteps, for voices outside her door, for the click of a handle. Nothing came. The house settled around her, with creaking, distant laughter fading, servants moving softly in corridors. Somewhere, far away, fireworks burst and dissolved into silence. Her wedding night had passed without anything happening. She wasn't sure how to feel about that. Relieved, yes, but also disoriented, as if she had stepped onto a path she hadn't known existed. Morning arrived with pale light filtering through sheer curtains. A knock sounded. "Mistress?" Mara flinched. "Yes." A maid entered carrying a tray. "Breakfast," she said politely, setting it on the table. "Tea, flatbread, fruit, eggs." Mara nodded thanks. The word mistress felt heavy in her ears. She ate slowly, barely tasting anything. Then came another knock, this time softer. It was Ryan. She froze for half a second before forcing herself to speak. "Come in." He opened the door only halfway. "I want to make sure you were all right." "I'm fine." He nodded. "Good. There's no rush to come down today. My family left early this morning." Her shoulders loosened without her permission. "They didn't ask questions?" "They did." Her stomach tightened again. "And I said you were exhausted," which was true. She studied him. "You lied." "Yes." He didn't look ashamed. She wasn't sure what to make of that. Later that day, she explored the house. It was larger than her parents' home, quiet, orderly, filled with soft rugs and tall windows. Family portraits lined one wall. Ryan as a child, his parents, a wedding photo of him with a woman she didn't recognize. She paused at that one. The bride beside him looked gentle, serious, not smiling either. She turned away quickly when she heard footsteps. "You don't have to avoid that," he said from behind her. She jumped. "I wasn't." "It's fine," he said. "That was Lena, his first wife. She liked photography, hated noise, loved rainy mornings." Mara waited. "She would have liked you," he added after a moment. That startled her. "You don't know that." He shrugged slightly. By afternoon, visitors arrived. Relatives, friends. Women she barely recognized came congratulate her, admire her clothes, comment on how shy she was. "She barely speaks. She's so young. Ryan, take good care of her." Mara smiled until her cheeks hurt. She kept her eyes lowered, played the part. Ryan stayed nearby. Not touching, but close enough to look convincing. When someone joked about grandchildren, he smoothly changed the subject. When an aunt squeezed Mara's arm and whispered, "Did he treat you well?" Ryan answered for her. She slept through the night. The woman laughed. Mara didn't. That evening, they sat across from each other at dinner. A long table. Too much space. Too many servants. She pushed food around her plate. "You don't have to stay if you're uncomfortable," he said quietly. "It's fine." He studied her for a second. "You don't need to lie to me." She glanced up, surprised. "I don't know how to do this," she admitted. He nodded slowly. That makes two of us. She hesitated, then asked, Why did you agree to this marriage at all? He paused. My mother, she believes being alone too long is unhealthy. And you? I thought I'd refuse again. Again? Yes. Her eyes sharpened. There were others? A few. And I said no. She frowned. So why me? He met her gaze. Because they wouldn't let me this time. That doesn't answer the question. He exhaled. You were young, and I knew if I didn't accept, someone else would. That sent a chill through her. And that made it better? It made me able to do something about it. She looked down. The logic was strange, but the result sat in her pocket. A key. That night, she stood on the balcony wrapped in a shawl. The city glowed in the distance, lights like scattered stars. Ryan stepped outside, keeping several feet between them. Do you miss home? He asked. Yes. He nodded. You can visit whenever you want. Really? Yes. She searched his face. You won't stop me? No. The word was firm. She breathed out slowly. Thank you. Later, alone in her room, Mara took the velvet box out again. The papers. The key. The card. She reread the documents carefully this time. They were real. Legal point 3 days after the wedding. Mara learned that silence could be louder than shouting. Ryan's house had settled into a careful rhythm. Morning tea in the courtyard. Servants sweeping marble floors. Phone calls he took behind closed doors. Visits from relatives who smiled too brightly. Everywhere she went, she felt eyes following her. Measuring, judging, waiting. She wore long sleeves even in the heat. Kept her voice soft. Played the role everyone expected. A new bride. A shy one. A grateful one. Inside, she counted exits. His mother arrived on the 4th morning. No announcement, just a sudden change in atmosphere. Servants straightened, voices lowered. Mara was in the sitting room when the older woman swept in, tall, sharply dressed, hair streaked with silver, posture rigid as a ruler. Ryan stood immediately. Mother? The woman's eyes slid to Mara. Up, down, lingering. So this is her. Mara rose. Good morning, ma'am. The woman hummed. You look younger than the photographs. Ryan stiffened slightly. She is young. Indeed. His mother Saturday, come here, child. Mara approached. The woman took her hands. Cool. Firm grip. And studied her palms as if reading something invisible. Are you being treated well? Mara felt Ryan's gaze on her. Yes, she said. Sleeping? Yes. Eating? Yes. The woman released her. Good. The word felt like a test passed. Barely. Later, while servants brought tea, Ryan's mother turned to him. You've been avoiding me. I've been busy. With what? He didn't answer. She smiled thinly. You married for stability, Ryan, not to create more complications. Mara's fingers curled in her lap. What complications? Ryan asked. You know what I mean. Her eyes flicked to Mara again. Mara's chest tightened. Ryan set his cup down. She's my wife. The words were simple, firm. His mother arched an eyebrow. So she is... That afternoon, a cousin cornered Mara near the garden. Young, sharp-eyed, too curious. So, the woman whispered, how is married life? Mara forced a smile. Fine. Just fine. Yes. The cousin leaned closer. You can tell me. Was he gentle? Mara froze. Heat crept up her neck. Ryan appeared at her side. We were looking for you, he said smoothly. To the cousin. Mother needs help inside. The woman smirked but left. Mara exhaled. Thank you. You don't owe anyone details, he said. That night, she found him in his study. Rows of books. A desk cluttered with papers. Maps pinned to wall. She hesitated at the doorway. He looked up. Do you need something? Your mother doesn't like me. He didn't pretend otherwise. She doesn't trust situations she didn't control. And this one, he paused. She agreed to it. She just expected something different afterward. What? He held her gaze. Results. Mara swallowed. She thinks I should. Yes. Her stomach dropped. And you? I think she's wrong. That startled her. Why? He leaned back in his chair. Because fear isn't a foundation for anything. She stared. No one had ever said that in her house. The next morning, whispers started. Servants spoke more quietly around her. Andy stared too long. Someone had noticed the lack of closeness, the space between husband and wife. At breakfast, Ryan's mother watched them carefully. Finally, she spoke. You're not affectionate. Mara nearly choked on her tea. Ryan didn't blink. Not everyone performs in public. That's not what I meant. I know. His mother's eyes sharpened. You should visit the temple together. Let people see unity. Mara stayed silent. Ryan nodded once. We'll go. Later, in the hallway, she confronted him. You didn't have to agree. It buys time, he said quietly. For what? For you. That night, Mara stood in front of the mirror and removed her jewelry slowly. Her hands were steadier than they had been 3 days ago. The temple visit happened 2 days later. Mara hadn't slept the night before. She lay staring at the ceiling, listening to the slow tick of the clock, and wondering how many people would be watching. Ryan had called it buying time. She suspected it was more like stepping onto a stage. That morning, a maid brought her a pale blue dress instead of the heavy bridal colors. Sir chose this, the girl said. Mara touched the fabric. Soft, simple. It felt thoughtful. When she came downstairs, Ryan was waiting near the door. He looked up. For the first time since the wedding, he actually seemed surprised. You look nice. Not beautiful. Not decorative. Just nice. The words settled strangely in her chest. Thank you, she murmured. The temple courtyard was crowded. Vendors. Families. Camera phones raised the moment they stepped out of the car. Ryan offered his arm. She hesitated. People were already staring, whispering. She slipped her hand to the crook of his elbow. His sleeve was warm. Steady. Inside, incense smoke curled into the air. Priests murmured prayers. Ryan's mother walked just ahead of them, posture proud. Everywhere they went, heads turned. A woman murmured, "So young." Another whispered. He married again quickly. Mara kept her gaze down. At one point, someone blocked their path. A journalist. "Sir," the man said brightly, "is it true you married within 6 months of negotiations?" Ryan didn't slow. "Yes." "And the bride is only 18? "Yes." Mara's breath caught. "Do you feel pressure to start a family immediately?" Ryan stopped. Slowly. He turned. "My wife is a student," he said calmly. "That comes first." The journalist blinked. Mara looked up at him. He hadn't discussed that with her, but it felt protective. His mother's jaw tightened. Later, near the offering table, she whispered, "You didn't have to say that." "I did." "Why?" He glanced around. "Because it's true, unless you tell me otherwise." Her chest warmed, just a little. They were lighting candles when Ryan's mother joined them. "You spoke too freely." He didn't look at her. "I'd answered." "You embarrass him," she hissed softly, nodding toward the journalist. "I corrected him." She smiled thinly. "Don't forget who built the reputation you live inside." Ryan turned to her then. "And don't forget who's living in it now." Mara froze. She had never heard him speak to his mother like that. The woman's eyes flicked to Mara, assessing, blaming. "Go ahead," she told Mara sharply. "Pray." Mara stepped away, hands shaking as she lit a candle. She closed her eyes. Not to pray, to breathe. On the way home, the car was silent. Ryan stared out the window. His mother checked her phone. Mara folded her hands in her lap. She felt like a rope pulled between two sides. Back at the house, Ryan went straight to his study. His mother stopped Mara in the hallway. "You should encourage him to be more cooperative." Mara stiffened. "I don't." "You're his wife now. Influence him." Mara met her eyes. "I don't think he needs my influence to speak his mind." The woman stared, then smiled. "Thin, careful," she said. "Girls like you don't usually last long in houses like this." Mara's pulse spiked. She waited for her to walk away before exhaling. That night, she knocked on Ryan's study door. He looked up, surprised. Are you all right? No. He gestured to the chair. She didn't sit. Your mother threatened me. His face hardened. What did she say? Mara repeated it, slowly, word for word. Ryan's jaw tightened. She had no right. She has a lot of power. Yes, he said quietly. She does. And you? He stood. I won't let her touch you. You can't control her. I can control my house. She studied him. Is this really your house? He didn't answer right away. Then, legally, yes. That wasn't my question. He sighed. She funded most of it. There it was. And if she pulls that support, I'll be uncomfortable. Mara crossed her arms. You're rich. He gave a dry smile. Wealth and control aren't always the same thing. The dinner invitation arrived the next morning. Handwritten, cream-colored card. Ryan's mother's handwriting. Sharp, elegant strokes. Family dinner. Tonight. Mara stared at it while the maid waited. Will you attend, madam? She swallowed. Yes. The maid left. Mara found Ryan in the hallway. She's planning something. He didn't pretend otherwise. I know. Then why are we going? Because if we don't, she escalates. Mara's stomach twisted. What does that look like? He hesitated. Calling your parents. Mara's breath caught. She wouldn't. She might. Mara nodded slowly. All right. His mother's house was larger, colder, a mansion built for impressing people, not living with them. Relatives filled the dining room. Uncles, aunts, cousins, business partners. Eyes followed Mara as she entered. Ryan pulled out her chair. Whispers bloomed like weeds. So young. She looked scared. She won't last. The first course arrived. His mother raised her glass. To family, she said. Everyone echoed it. Mara forced herself to sip. The questions began subtly. How is married life? Are you settling in? Have you decorated your rooms yet? Then, sharper, when will you move closer to us? Do you plan to stop school? Mara glanced at Ryan. He answered, she's staying in school. His mother's smile faltered. And children? Silence at the table. Ryan set his fork down. That's private. His mother tilted her head. In this family, nothing is private. Mara's pulse hammered. The woman turned to her. What do you want, dear? Mara froze. Every face turned toward her. She felt 16 again. Small. Cornered. Ryan waited, not interrupting, giving her the choice. She swallowed. I want to finish my studies. His mother's eyes hardened. And after? I don't know yet. A beat. Ryan's mother exhaled through her nose. Naive. Ryan's chair scraped as he stood. Enough. The room stilled. You invited us to eat, not interrogate my wife. You forget yourself. No, he said. I remember exactly who I am. Gasps. You think marriage makes you independent? I think it makes me responsible. For what? For her safety. Mara's breath hitched. His mother's smile vanished. Sit down. No. The word landed heavy. I will not allow you to pressure her. You cannot control this family. I can leave it. Silence crashed over the table. Mara stared. He had never said that before. Not out loud. His mother's face went pale. Then, tight. You would walk away from everything I built? I would walk away from you hurting her. Every muscle in Mara's body locked. This was more than she'd expected. More than she was ready for. His mother stood too. You think this girl is worth destroying decades of work. Ryan didn't look at Mara, but he answered for her. Yes. They left before dessert. The car ride was silent except for Mara's breathing. Her hands shook in her lap. You didn't have to do that, she whispered. Yes, I did. She could ruin you. She already controls me. He turned onto the main road. But not you. She stared at him. What if she goes after my family? She won't. You don't know that. I do. He glanced at her. She doesn't escalate unless she's sure I'll fold. And you won't. No. Back at the house. Mara went straight to her room. Her chest felt too tight. She paced, then knocked on his study door. He looked tired. I didn't ask you to fight her. I know. Then why? Because someone needed to. Her voice cracked. You barely know me. He softened. I know enough. She shook her head. I'm not worth that. He stepped closer. You don't get to decide your worth. The words hit harder than shouting. She blinked fast. I don't want to ruin your life. You're not. My family is safe, he said firmly. I've already arranged for that. She froze. What do you mean arranged? He exhaled. I increased the monthly payments to your parents. Quietly. They won't suspect anything. Tears burned. You didn't tell me. I didn't want you to feel bought. She wiped her eyes quickly. I'm not a project. I know. Then what am I? He met her gaze. My responsibility. She nodded once. Mara woke before sunrise. The house was silent in a way that only rich houses ever were. Too big, too empty, too controlled. For a long time, she lay staring at the ceiling, replaying every word from the night before. I can leave it. I would walk away from you, hurting her. No one had ever drawn lines for her before. Not like that. Not where she could see them. She slipped out of bed and opened the velvet box. The papers, the bank card, the key, her freedom. She turned the key between her fingers. Cold, light, it had always represented escape. But now it meant something else too. Choice. At breakfast, Ryan wasn't there. A servant told her he'd left early. His mother had called. Mara's stomach sank. She didn't wait. She grabbed her shawl and went to his study. Unlocked. Empty. Then his office. Also empty. Her phone buzzed. Ryan, I'm at my mother's house. Don't come. I'll handle it. She stared at the screen, then typed back. Mara, I'm coming. No reply. She went anyway. The mansion gates were open. Inside, tension hung in the air. Voices echoed from the drawing room. She slowed as she approached. You humiliated me, his mother was saying. I defended my wife. You endangered our name. Then the name needs fixing. Mara stepped inside. Both of them turned. Ryan's eyes widened. What are you doing here? I'm done hiding, she said. His mother's gaze sharpened. You should have stayed home. No, Mara replied quietly. I shouldn't have. Silence fell. Mara's hands trembled. She folded them together so no one could see. You married my son to secure your family, the older woman said coldly. Mara nodded. Yes. And now you think you can change how things work. Mara lifted her chin. I don't think that anymore. Ryan took a step toward her. Mara. She shook her head. Let me finish. He stopped. She faced his mother. You keep asking what I want, Mara said. Last night you did. I froze. That's on me. The woman's lips pressed together. But this is my answer. Mara breathed in. I will finish school. I will not have children until I choose to. I will not be questioned about my body, my marriage, or my future. Gasped from relatives in the hall. Ryan stared. His mother's eyes narrowed. And if I refuse to accept that? Mara's fingers curled around the key in her pocket. Then I leave. A beat. You wouldn't survive alone. Mara looked straight at her. I already planned how. She pulled the velvet box from her bag and set it on the table. Ryan inhaled sharply. His mother blinked. What is that? An exit you didn't know about, Mara said. The woman looked at Ryan. You gave her this? Yes. You undermined me. I protected my wife. The woman laughed once. Harsh. You think this is strength? Mara answered instead. No, this is insurance. Silence stretched. His mother studied her. Long. Hard. Then, you're not as fragile as you look. Mara nodded. I never was. They left together. This time, no shouting, no chasing. Just a heavy quiet of people realizing control had slipped. That evening, back home, Mara sat across from Ryan in the living room. I didn't ask you to go there, he said. I know. You scared me. She almost smiled. Good. He exhaled. You didn't have to use the papers. I didn't. She leaned forward. I needed to know I could. He nodded slowly. And now, Mara thought, long and carefully. I stay, she said. His shoulders tensed. Because I'm afraid? No. Because you paid my parents? No. Then why? She met his eyes. Because you didn't trap me. Silence. I want to finish school, she added. Yes. I want my own career. Yes. I don't want anyone, your mother included, making decisions about my body. Agreed. And, she hesitated, and, if this marriage ever becomes real, she said, voice steady, it happens on my timeline. Ryan nodded. Always. She studied him. You could have walked away too. I still can. Why don't you? He answered honestly. Because I don't want to. She let that sit between them.